This is Dan from Simply Productive Tips. In this video, I'll show you how to collect customer feedback using Google Forms. Totally free, no tools to buy, and no complicated setup. First, a quick note. To follow along with this tutorial, you'll need a Google account. If you don't have one yet, you can easily create one by going to accounts.google.com. Let's get started. To begin gathering valuable feedback from customers, first navigate to forms.google.com. This is your starting point for creating a new feedback survey. Once there, you'll be presented with an option to create a new form. Select blank form to start from scratch. First, we'll name our form. Let's call it Customer Feedback Requests. Now we'll give it a clear and concise description. For example, we could say something like, "Your feedback is incredibly important to us. This short survey will take less than 2 minutes to complete." There, that looks pretty good. We could also format some of these words by using some of the text modification below. Once the form is ready, we can now start creating some questions. So for example, if we want to find out how satisfied somebody is with their service, we could say something like, "How satisfied were you with the experience?" And then we're going to make this a linear scale that allows you to set two numbers, one lower and one higher, and customers will be able to pick a number between those two. So on the lower side, we might say not satisfied. And on the upper scale, we might say very satisfied. And we're going to mark that as required. Next, we'll want to collect some more specific feedback from the customer. So we can add a new question. That'll drop it below the first. And we could ask, how could we do better? We're going to make that question a paragraph to give them some room to answer. And I think we'll also make that required. Third, we'd want to know if a customer is willing to recommend us to other people. So we can ask them, would you recommend us to others? And we're going to make this a drop down. We could also make it a checkbox. I think drop down is more clear. We're going to add two options. The first is yes, and the second is no. Perfect. And we're going to mark that as required as well. And then finally, we're going to add an optional question to ask the customer for their name in case they'd like to get a follow-up from us. So we could say your name and email if you'd like us to follow up. And we will make that a short answer, and that is not required. Perfect. Now that we have our form, we can move on to adjusting the settings. Now that we have our form built, we're going to adjust some settings. So click Settings and expand responses. We're going to make sure that collect email addresses is set to do not collect because we want this feedback to be anonymous or allowed to be anonymous. Collapse responses, expand presentation. Now we want to give a more customized confirmation message. This is the message that customers will receive once they've filled out the feedback form. So we could say something like, "Thank you for your feedback. We really appreciate it," and save. There are also other settings that you can change, but for now, I think that's good enough. Next, we'll look at how to share the form with others. Now that our form is complete, we can publish and share the form. To publish, up on the right-hand corner, click Publish. You can leave anyone with this link for responders as the default. Click Publish again. Now this form is available for sharing. You can share via link by clicking on the link icon up in the upper right-hand corner of the form. When you click on that, you'll get a responder link that you can shorten to make it look better, and then you can copy that and put it in your email signature, send it to somebody through your favorite messenger service, newsletter, however you would like to do that. We can take a look at that by opening a new tab, pasting the link, and here now we can see what the customer would see when they're about to fill out the form. Let's do that. So we could say, for example, somebody is very satisfied with their service. They could say, "There's nothing that you could have done better." We can also say that we would definitely recommend you to others, and I don't want them to respond. I click Submit. Now we can see that we get the confirmation message that we had set earlier. If we go back into our other tab and into the responses section, we can see that our response was captured here. If we want to see more specifics, for example, one response per row in a Google Sheet, we can click Link to Sheets, and we can either select an existing spreadsheet or create a new one. We're going to leave the default and create a new one here by clicking Create. That'll open a new tab with the linked sheet. And as you can see here, here is my response that we just filled in. And to demonstrate how you can see responses coming in real time, I'm going to jump back over to the customer feedback request form, click Submit Another Response, and then we will fill out another response. So maybe I'm not satisfied, and maybe I can say that customer service is awful. I would not recommend. And this time I'm going to say go ahead and reach out to me. My name is Joe Smith. And click Submit. If we go back over to the Google Sheet, we should soon see a new row show up with that new response. We can use this to follow up with customers based on things like their satisfaction score and their recommendation, and whether or not they've left us contact information. So for example, if somebody has given us a 5 and they'd like us to, or they would recommend us to others, and they did leave an email, we could ask them if they would be somebody to give us good feedback more publicly. Or if somebody gave us bad feedback, we can reach out to see how we can make that better. That's it. A free, flexible way to collect feedback with zero cost and minimal effort. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Visit GetSimplyProductive.com for more how-tos, productivity tips, and other helpful resources. Let us know in the comments if there are any specific productivity tips you'd like to see. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.